billionaires have it, the secrets billionaires use to build the wealth that the poor don't use. And in fact, looking at this, the content of the, I wish I could talk about everything. I wish I could just read everything, but this is too. But the first thing that I see that happened to me today,
okay.
that really is this result-oriented relationship.
Okay.
Everything I've done, actually, I believe, for example, the job I'm doing, but I don't know how I got into it. A friend of mine that knows somebody that did it, then told me, hey, I believe you can do this, because we've been friends for a while, and we wanted to make sure that we have the best for each other, and then introduced me to it, and then I got into it. At the end of the day, I've been of help to him also in some other areas, but that's the part of the we empowering each other to become better. When he was doing his wedding, it was all his friends that he has assisted. I even sponsored the thing. Wow. And he spent nothing less than 70 million in Nigeria, 70 million in Nigeria on that wedding. So, but that's the part of the rich, right? And the part of the poor is that somebody reached out to me today and was like, I've never spoken to the person in 7 years. Hey, I invested in Bitcoin, and I borrowed money to invest in Bitcoin. Can you help me to pay the debt? The person wants to take my car. They should carry your car and go. Because of emotions, and that's what I saw here. Don't invest because of instinct or emotions. For if you do, you are most likely to regret it in future. Yeah. So he said I should not worry that the Bitcoin is planned to increase in November. Even 1,000 naira I cannot give you. Let them carry your car, sell it, pay your debt. So I have a principle that I've been using since I was young. I said don't love people too much that it affects your judgment, affects your emotions. That you can't think beyond your emotions. You don't start putting emotions into play to make decisions. You don't be too close to somebody that emotions will be the one driving you. So there's somebody I will be too close to, and I will not be able to make decisions wisely. I will detach myself.
Was it your wife?
I told my wife too. I know I'm a logical person, emotional as a female, but there are some things I will not take that are, for example, as a Christian, there are some things that women will come, want to fight this person, this person has offended me. I understand, I sympathize with you, but personally, I will not accept what you've done. It's not something that I will, condone or, play with, because at the end of the day, we're having children that we want them to grow, to understand love, to understand that life is not balanced. So if I condone that in her, before we do anything, she will start saying it in the presence of the children in the dining room. You can start, having enemies, and we start, people start getting the mindset of, this person is my enemy, this person is my friend. Even among people that are in the church, or people around you, co-workers. So that kind of mindset actually affects, at that level, I can get with my wife, but other people, I actually don't want something that I cannot think straight. I will say this publicly. My mother asked me sometimes ago that between my wife and her, who am I going to love the most? I said, want me to be my wife, because that is what you want to hear. To be my wife, because I cannot start something I cannot finish. Which also financially, you don't want to start what you cannot continue. I don't want to encourage giving to people. Like, for example, that person, the money he was even asking for it's not something big. But if I should give, I will be encouraging laziness, encouraging borrowing, borrowing to invest in Bitcoin. That's really unsmart. But I will be encouraging something that is not good. So I want him to go ahead and live life. Let life deal with him as it should. He has planned it for himself. So that's really something I said something here also that says many poor people only know about investment after they've lost money. This explains why most poor people often end up losing the money they have earned 100 times over. So this tells me when to stop, when to withdraw. So I know that it's good to invest, but do you have the ability to actually stop, read the weather? It says that if you don't observe, the weather, you can just go out and the rain will fall if you don't observe the weather. Observing the weather is what makes us take umbrella out, to be careful so that we don't get wet with the rain. So to me, I believe in all investment, there's always a time that you don't even go in at all. There's always times to withdraw, reap. There's always times to also farm. So I can't be farming when I'm supposed to be reaping. Doing that is like the opposite, and I will not make enough gain. So sometimes people make money, they put everything and throw it again into it. And I saw something that says you eat from the profit. You don't eat the capital. You eat from the profit. So if you take the profit also, yes, we are supposed to invest the profit back. But if you take all the profit and everything, every time you just put in, and when it's even the time you're supposed to farm, you throw anything again, you lose money. Then at the end of the day, as a poor person, whatever you gain 100 times, you still lose it again, because you only learn after you've invested, and then you lose most of the things you've invested. And lastly, one thing I saw here is that I really want to take home is relationship capital. You might not have the cash, but there's this relationship capital, mutual benefit. The relationship capital, which is the first thing on the first chapter, the mutual benefit that I believe we should start building. I'm not saying that I'm going after what I want to earn from you, that's why I'm running after you, but at the end of the day, I must be able to give something, either service, as I said, service, whatever I can give to actually be beneficial to that person, and also have what we call relationship capital, because at the end of the day, your money might not get you where your relationship will get you. So that's what I've learned from them. Just this few, is it up to 10 minutes? This book is too much.
Thank you. Yes, you're next.
All right. Thank you so much. I really feel very happy and excited to be here. Especially meeting my online virtual mentor, Dr. Steven. I've been following him now just about 2 years, and which I made the decision earlier to be following him earlier. I've been living in the US now for 15 years, and I know you always say on these videos that living in the US is not an achievement. Stop saying you've been living here for 15, 20 years or whatever. But I used to live in the state of Kentucky. I'm a pharmacist by training, and we just actually moved to Houston. So I usually see a lot about him. I think eventually I'm not making a mistake. I've watched almost all his YouTube videos, all his interviews on channels, television, attend a lot of his live sessions and all that. So first, Dr. Steven, before I even go ahead and proceed to go into this, I really want to thank you, because you are that person that if I have to pay you for the knowledge that I've gained from you, I will see that I'm into a couple of $1 million in debt. I learned a lot from you. I was born and grew in a Bible-believing family, and I just, after following you for a while, I felt like a lot of junk was, I grew up in a lot of junk. I felt like a lot of junk was being thrown into me, and maybe I should have taken permission before, but I didn't have the privilege of having access to you. I have had the privilege of using a lot of the messages you preach to, not to preach on word verbatim, but to extract my messages from there in our Cameroonian community. I'm originally from Cameroon, and as of now, I'm just surprised at the level in which the hard work, the dedication, the commitment that I've learned from you is taking me up to the level in which the church that I was born to in Cameroon, which is supposed to be like the mother Pentecostal church in Cameroon, was inviting me this summer for their National Youth Conference to come and speak and all of that. So you've been a great sort of source of inspiration to me, my wife. When we saw you launch out the KD project, I just looked at my wife. I'm just like you always say, the first thing is you gain the knowledge, and then start by studying, like you say all the time in your videos. So I had family that lived in the area, but you were one of the motivational factors why we came in here, because I was just like, it's we're in Kentucky, in a rural area. We never had this privilege of, I don't know if you know Kentucky, but you've never been 5 hours around Kentucky. I think the closest you've been is Atlanta. So we just thought about it that okay, being in here, we live in KD now. Seeing the KD project, we are hoping that maybe we'll put ourselves, at a learning position to start learning or start doing things. However, we registered for the class on Saturday. Yeah, and like I said, I did not have enough time to go through all what was in here. But again, I'm really excited. I feel like I'm sweating because I feel like it's a privilege meeting you, for the very, very first time. And I want to be respectful of our time. But man, you've poured so much wisdom into me, like so much. Like after listening to you, I just realized that my visions cannot be limited to being just a pharmacist, and I've also realized that it's not like quitting right away, but your income is a source of your investment in the future, and I'm really, really looking forward to learning a lot from you. Which again, like I said earlier, I've already learned a lot. Like even if I had to stop at this point in time, I feel like you've empowered me with the capacity, with the knowledge that not even money could buy. I felt like if I mentioned the first day and you just be like, hey, Dr. How are you giving me $1 million? What you've invested in me, money cannot buy. It's way more than that. You've kicked out. You've given me the ability to talk to a lot of young people, especially in the setting in which I grew up in Cameroon, to kick out this mentality of laziness, to think that the Lord shall provide some superficial way of you sitting in your room and praying, and then all of a sudden miracle money will appear in your room or something. To be out, to be hardworking. A lot of those programs that you held during a couple of months ago, the online programs or the conferences that you held, you brought in a lot of speakers, including the different preachers that you brought on there. January
Believers World
Festival. Yes. So the conference itself was mind changing. However, after the first couple of months of listening to you, I started my own business. I know that I just started with something I was passionate about, which is I got into travel and tourism. And I started my own, travel and tourism company. We started really small, where, arranging trips and taking a couple of, people who want to do like their honeymoons, their birthdays in Jamaica, Barbados, Aruba, and then we went to Dubai. And we started taking a group of women to Dubai. And before I knew it, I was shocked to know that in a couple of months, I was making way more than what I would have been making as a pharmacist for a whole year. Wow. And that was just so fulfilling. And, the entrepreneurship mentality, becoming an entrepreneur, the abilities, the skills, man, you just loaded it into me in such a way that everything I see, I look around as business. It's like I'm looking at this house now, I see business everywhere. So again, let me be very respectful and keep it short. Thank you very much, sir. I'm so grateful.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure we still get to meet on Saturday and Sunday for the event as well. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Adishino, like John. I'm an SAP consultant, business analyst. Previously, I used to work as a petroleum engineer, but right now I'm putting my hands into so many things, like real estate. And the book I'm going to review is The Billionaire's Code. Like John was talking about relationships. In chapter 4, it talks about honest relationship. But I want to take it in the context of where we stay. Yeah. Relationships is your network, is what you understand. It's when people, like in this book it says, that a standard relationship, an honest relationship by this standard is the one that is free of deceit, dishonesty. I want to relate it to where we stay. We have a system where we have the credit system. You understand? When you have your credit score, you have the scale is from 350 to 850. and that is based on honesty. Is the amount, like now, if you borrow money and you say you're going to return it at a particular time, and you do it, your credit score goes up. But if you don't return it as per agreement, your credit score starts coming down. It's all about relationship, honest relationship. In this country, it's based on trust. There's a saying that cash is king everywhere. But here, where we are right now, cash is king, but credit is queen. You must know how to manage every relationship you have. It's just your relationship with people. It talks about your relationship with people. If you have a credit system, some people will go down low to the 350, some people will be at the 850 rate. Some people will be total zero. Because I formed, when I was reading this, I just remembered I formed a couple of relationship that is based on honesty, that someone could call and say, I have this problem, I have this, and they expect an honest opinion from me. You understand? And I've been in a relationship that if someone says, okay, I need this, I know the person actually needs it. I've been in a relationship where that someone calls me as it's coming, before I pick up the phone, I know that there's problems. So, having an honest relationship, you understand, like this book is the Billionaire's Code. And one part says the billionaire doesn't care what you believe. All they care is whether you are an honest person or not. It comes to loyalty, honesty. If they can leave something with you and they find it there. There are people that are like John, we met years ago, and we built that relationship that people will even say, they are brothers. You understand? I can call John and say, John, we want to do, okay, let's go. So building that kind of relationship and knowing who to entrust things to. There are people that are very good. I have a friend that you might be talking, I said, this person you are talking to is an honest person. This person that you are talking to, watch out. And at the end of the day, it's always like that. So, the little I've been able to read, like the chapter, the honest, chapter 4, the honest relationship, it's powerful.
Okay, can we clap for him? Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for your review. I will be picking one point from each of the books as well. So I'm starting with the Billionaire's Code. At part 1, it talks about positive relationship. It says billionaires only allow into their circle people who have an optimistic life view. Without a positive mental attitude, it is somewhat impossible to create wealth and maintain it. But if you take some step further, and I think I want to dwell on that, I see it says get rid of poverty mentality. And some quotes here says you cannot become rich by merely thinking about wealth. Nevertheless, thinking about wealth is the first and foundational stage to wealth creation. Right? The other quote says you cannot create riches or amass wealth if you're always judging yourself by your current economic condition. So, I think one of the biggest secrets of billionaires I have noticed, and I had to work my way into that mentality, is how they are able to think beyond their current economic conditions. How they're able to think abundance when everybody's thinking scarcity. We all talk about how Nigeria is struggling, the challenges of Nigeria, yet a guy called Dangote is telling us by July he's solving all our petroleum problem. One man, right, is solving the entire petroleum problem of the largest country in Africa. Okay? One man, right? The next conversation Dangote is having now is that his next industry is the steel sector. That he wants to go into steel. Nigeria spent too much money importing steel. You know, and you will wonder whether the man is not in Nigeria. Because what the average other poor Nigerians who are not billionaires are discussing is there's no food, there's no light, there's no fuel. And these are, in reality, problems with that. What now makes you rich is your ability to solve those problems. But rather than anyone thinking the problem should be solved, they've number one delegated it that it must be the government that solve it. Meanwhile, another man has decided to say, well, I can be the government, I can solve it, and I'm going to work towards solving it. And the more he does it, the more we keep saying he's the richest black man. And people don't get what that means. It means that even the black people in America are not as rich as the one in shithole country Nigeria. That tells you and I something. That this concept of wealth begins with the mindset. How do you see abundance and scarcity? How do you begin to see plenty? I have met a lot of people in my life, and one of the things I notice with them is how they can just be destabilized by just some little things, right? Their business is affected, their everything is just affected by one small thing happen. And how we haven't trained ourselves to get to a point where, well, there's this challenge, please, next. Well, there's this other one, next. Right? Which other one? Next. Of course, we look at it and see the way out, but hey, what's the next step? There must be a way out. But you can't sit there and then begin to create a pity party and then begin to cry out and, oh, if the world, if I had known, if this, if that. You can't do that. I lost money in business. And one of the things you can do that will make me to cut off with you. I mean, Temi knows a conference I did in London. We spent over £50,000. I think about £70,000. Now, ticket sales from that training did not even hit £10,000. Right? And we were expecting to have almost 500 people. Maybe we'll have 100 plus. Right? And for me, I finished that event like, listen, that 100 plus came for me in London where I don't live. Glory to God. Right? Thank God we move on. Right down the line, even those who came will eventually do business with me. And maybe at some point it will write off what we spent in the conference. Only for me to be having meeting, and she was there with my chief organizer, okay, of the event. Now, it was my money. He just was the head of volunteer. Even the volunteer at some point had to take over the team myself. And then he went ranting. If only we had done this, we would have gotten the place filled up. If only this had happened, it would have been more better. If only this had happened, if only that has happened, and he went and, well, let's just say that was the last time he ever had 30 minutes of my time. That was the last time. We even met recently at an event. He didn't even get 2 minutes of my time. Right? Because my mentality is in a different place. My mind is my biggest and the most precious commodity. My mind. Am I making sense at all? To now fill that mind with a 30 minutes of garbage, of regret. Right? Abba, it's unfair. In fact, it's one of the worst disservice you can do to me. Like, even in my office, people know it. All my rule is, if you are sad and you work for me, at some point, what's going on? What happened? I try to, empathize. And then, the next day again, I see you, you are still carrying that attitude. I tell them, don't allow this person near me again. Because I already have my own fair share of trouble. By the way, I have enough. Okay, enough. Like the Bible says, daily loaded us with benefits. I am daily loaded with challenges. So, you know what? You don't need to come and add extra. No. Right? I want a happy ever. Of course, I'm not saying we should live in denial. Yeah, there are this challenge. But can we not overflog the denial to the challenge to a point where, we're not making progress? One of the things I always say to people, the day you become wealthy is the day you have control over your job. Let me say it again. So if you want to write it down, write it down. The day you become wealthy is the day you have control over your joy. Because money increase in a happy environment. Yep. So sometimes people don't. Yesterday I went shopping for, the house I want to buy here and be living here. And all I was after was, will this environment make me happy? That was it. Mm-hmm. Right? Will I come into this house and no matter what had happened, right? No matter what has happened in business, the challenges I face, but as I enter this house, right? The ambience that speaks abundance, speak happiness, speak joy, right? And gets me to say, hey, the God that brought you this far, to even be able to live in a place like this, will take you to a higher level. Mm-hmm. Once you can have control over things like that, they look simple, but you're on your way to your billions and nothing can stop.
Yeah.
Right. I hope this makes sense.
Environment.
So that's
your environment.
Yes, the environment.
Energy.
The environment is very important. Very important. I have this write-up. I said, the respect of your wife is the beginning of wisdom. Some people don't understand that. I saw some people were even abusing me on social media, and they don't get it that
they are not married.
But I think what they don't know is that the person who can really mess me up is my wife. Right? The person who can run me aground.
100%.
Right? Because all you need to do, and that's why the Bible said the merry heart doeth good like medicine. People don't know that when you say somebody is dying of cancer, in fact, there was a test that was done at some point. A man was diagnosed of, I think, lung cancer. And they told him he has, 4 weeks to live or 6 weeks to live? And the man said, well, if I'm going to die in 6 weeks or 4 weeks, what's the point? I will better laugh my way to wherever I'm going. So he got the services of the best comedians in that country and then paid them such that they were taking turn to come and do comedy and make him happy. Are we learning here? Or we're distracted with our phones? Right? And then they started coming day by day to do comedy with him. Week 1 went, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. And I said, well, since I'm not dead yet, let me extend it by another 6 weeks. Then the 6 weeks elapsed. Well, since I'm not dead yet, let me extend by another 6 weeks. Now, by the time this man would go to the hospital, there was no more lung cancer. There was no more lung. So for me, talking about my wife is that I understand that whatever money I think I have, my wife messing me up and creating sadness can run it aground in matter of weeks. Right? So we must understand the power of the environment. That's why for me, whatever I need to do to please you, right? We shall do, right? So that at least I can be in peace and move on my own life, right? So the second book I'm reviewing is, and then I have Temi do our own review, is Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. Okay, and in page 24, chapter 5, I talk about creating a strategy of execution during tough time. Right, and a few quotes here says, people don't hate you. They just hate some of your ideas, your guts, and are not sure why they hate you.
They hate you only.
Right? And it's true. Many people around you who gossip about you, who say a lot of stuff, they really don't know why they hate you. Sometimes they just hate the idea of you are so confident. Right? You just talk loud, you talk big. No, this Billionaire Habit for Entrepreneurs. Page 24. Right? So they just hate how bold you are, how audacious you are, the way you just talk. I noticed this about people who talk about me. For those who compliment me, one thing I always hear them say is, I don't know what, but I just love his confidence. Right? Now, for those who hate me, what I also hear is almost the same. How dare he think this big, or think he can achieve this?
Suicidal.
Yeah, right. So you see, somebody is happy that I'm happy he can think this big. The other one is happy that it's like, why will he? They always say I hate him, but it's like, why will he be talking? He thinks it's a joke. He thinks he can just do this. And do you know the good news? If you really think I read between the lines, they don't hate you, they hate themselves. Right? What they are saying is, because I cannot think this big and I cannot execute this big, he too must not be able to think this big and execute this big. Are we together now?
Yeah.
So how do you create a strategy? One of it is in tough time. One of it, a quote I said, be consistent even when you don't feel like it. So I built a culture, and I always say it about particularly for entrepreneurs. To be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be able to just keep moving. And I think Bishop TJ shared that yesterday on Sunday. You know, you have to keep moving. It's tough. It's annoying. Sometimes when you look back at it, it's just like, am I on drugs or steroids? But you just have to just be able to just keep going. They're shooting at you. They're talking about you. The world is changing. The world is falling. There's crisis. There's this. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. But if you now start sitting down, taking your time to start hating yourself, to start dwelling on it, to start doing this. I mean, I got reports today, Lord, just to tell you about power of keep moving. And once you train yourself, you'll be good at this thing. One was a land we paid for. The person we even bought the land for is a retired military person in a particular place. Now they were giving, the king of that area, and the land had CFO in the name of the person who sold it to us. Now the king of the area took the other person to court, claiming that he forged the deed, the assignment, he forged the CS, and creating so much mess for us. Okay, one of our board members even had to travel to that location to meet both parties, but you can imagine how you feel about having paid money for over 2 years for a piece of land and you can't even access what you have paid tens of millions. You've invested almost, if not more than 100 million on that property. On another property is somebody who had collected money, right, and is not really the owner of the property. And then the real owner now show up with all his documented. Right? The question is, how do you keep moving? And if I didn't tell you, some of you have been with me all day now. If I didn't tell you, right? If I didn't tell you now, you will know that these were the report I'm dealing with. And life goes on. Right? You have to build that capacity. Else, you're not going to run a multi-billion naira or $1 billion or billion whatever corporation. And I learned this very well with my spiritual mentor. I will see situations. There are times we've heard stories of robbers came to Bishop Odego's house and even killed the security men. And then the man is still preaching. You even hear it. Like, God is able to. I remember one Shiloh, that one was for me the biggest. I will never forget that image. Mommy Feto Edepo was practically carried into the Shiloh service because I sit where the pastor sits, honor entrance. And she was practically carried by two people. First of all, left to me, I'm like, why is she in that service? She's not strong enough. Only to now be hearing Pastor say, if you are not healed tonight, it's your fault. My God, we heal you now. Okay. Then carry your wife, enter this service. And they still carried her out.
Hey, it was her fault that she was not here.
Right? But keep moving. But guess what? Like play. Weeks later, nobody's carrying her again. She's still alive. After cancer twice. Right? How many people, one cancer said, no, they don't die. My late mom died of cancer. My doctor, my father-in-law now, we just buried him cancer too. Twice. So you are not going to tell me that faith did not work. But what we're saying is the ability to keep moving despite the challenges, if I want to, since my wife said she learned from me, is reducing a transfer of aggression. Right? When we got married, we didn't have kids. I was the one receiving the transfer of aggression. after we had kids, and business I wasn't even available for it to give the transfer of aggression. It became the children. But she said gradually, because she now understands, she knows when there are big issues happening, and her husband still come home, play with the kids. There's no transfer aggression on anybody. Life move on. Say, no, I have to learn this one. This one, I must learn, because sometimes it's just the nanny that just did one thing, and my emotion is all over. Over just nanny. Meanwhile, my husband will lose money, there will be issues, and then it's fine. Then he moves on. Right?
Thanks God.
But we can learn it, that's the good news. And a lot was shared in the book, even about how I learned to cope with things like this. I wasn't born this way. Of course, I'm melancholy. Of course, I have mood swing. I battle with a lot of mood swing growing up. But I had to evolve into this version, and so can you and I. And you can learn in the book. Okay, so tell me, you go then, I continue.
Okay, thank you very much. So, on page.
So introduce yourself, what you do,
Okay.
then you go to the title of the book you are reviewing and the page.
Okay. My name is Tini Achibewa. I am an online business coach. I help you to monetize your skills, your expertise, your experiences online in the form of books, online courses, webinars, master classes, and so on. And I'm also a real estate agent. Thank you. So I'm reviewing from this book, Billionaire Habits, the secrets billionaires use to build wealth that the poor don't use. So it's I'm on page 101, monetize pleasure. So I read it a bit, and the beginning of that chapter 101, it really struck me when, because of something that happened recently, which I'll share. The chapter starts by saying many poor people envy, resent, judge, and castigate billionaires because they see them as people who have a lot of money and do nothing with it than waste it on pursuing fleeting pleasures. Right? So, look at him, he's traveling up and down. He's on first class. He's buying this wine. Shame on me. I used to be exactly that way of thinking. I remember telling myself that women that wear 2 bands, 2 rings, what's their point? They're just wasting money on. Just wear 1 to prove that you are married. Why don't you wear 2? You know, I'll say things like, why are you having 2 cars? Can you drive in 2 at the same time? Why you have 2 houses? Can you live in the 2? It's not what's 1 room you will sleep at night. My mentality with money was in the grave. That was not the ground. Ground was too high. My mentality about money making was in the grave. I used to judge. Once somebody has a big car, I'm like, what's it doing that big car for what? I remember about 20 years ago, I was in the university. I had this lady who was in my class, who was 10 years my senior, right? And when I go to her house, she was married, right? I wasn't. So she was about maybe 6 years or so married then. And then I'll see her wardrobe. She had bags in their covers. Auntie, the one, what is this bag? This one is 40,000 naira. 49 handbag. Auntie, why you like this? I was not working with ATM. I'm like, this is what you use all your money to do. This is not fair. This. I will talk and talk. And then when we should take I was saying we should take a bus. So let's take BRT from the Odessa to last one. He said, no, let's do taxi. I said, no, BRT is just taxi naira. Taxi is 400 naira. That's a lot of money. It was 2004. 2005, like I did my admission into last 2004. That's the September batch. 2005, I was like, she said to me, it's just taxi, you are safe, you are comfortable, you are this, and then gradually I began to see the reason why I should buy a bag that was 10,000 naira. Like, the first day I did, I felt like, hey, I'm going to hell. I'm wasting money doing this, But so, for someone like me, it's not even about judging rich people. I was even judging myself to spend money. I could not imagine why I would have luxury in that regard. Now, that's a level. There's a level where you now get comfortable buying these things and saying, I deserve this, right? I remember saying that I had to fly because I was always doing night bus. Any trip from Lagos to outside, all those maybe Abuja, this. So now dating my husband in maybe 15 years ago anyway, and it was in Abuja. I would be doing bus everything. Because the day now here there's someone from Samadiyemi. He said poor people spend time to save money. Say rich people spend money to save time. That is an example. Some people will take a night bus 14 hours to Abuja. They will get there tired and useless all through the day. Whereas, every time we buy a ticket, and you can't forget that ticket. It was 87,000 naira. maybe night bus was like 5,000, maybe 3,500 or something. And then 10,000 naira, aero contractors. I said, oh yeah, on this day, it was 23,000, because that was also my 23rd birthday. So I'm like, no, let me just break the jinx of this not flying. And I flew, and once I got in the airport, I'm like, for 5 minutes I'm in Abuja. This thing is sweet to me, it's okay, you know. Oh my God, I remember now. Aero contractors, 22,000, and I was in Abuja, and you know, it was, so from there, I then became comfortable with spending money, and now the level that this stuff is talking about is beyond just spending on yourself. Like, you are comfortable to afford good things like luxury and all of that. You deserve it if you work for it. There's a higher level where that luxury fetches you money.
Yeah.
I cracked that code when I got into the US, you know, and even before now, let me say about 10 years ago, in all fairness, 2014, when I had my first son, I stumbled into online business, right? So I had this business I was doing online. It was with my mobile phone. That phone was a techno phone. Ordinarily, I would have said that maybe it was luxury at that time for me to like maybe 40,000 naira phone or something. It was too much. But I knew that phone had a better camera that I could use to post more, better stuff and add more memory for me to use online. And so I now got a small laptop. All those students read those HP 12 inches and 10 inches, you know, and from there I grew, right? As at 20 years later, I was able to afford a bigger phone, buy, you know, a what's it called now? Apple laptop, you know, and then I began to say, this is not luxury. At the time, my laptop was more expensive, I think, than my house rent or something. But I knew it was not luxury. I needed to have that to work, you know, and every day I delayed from buying that laptop earlier. When I now bought a laptop, I regretted it. That I should have bought this thing earlier now, because all the frustration I experienced with the HP, it went down the drain. With you just open, start working, close, and you have good, no booting, no this, you know. So what this book is saying here also resonated with me deeply for two reasons. The first one was, some days ago I was speaking to an in-law, and then he was saying that, Barama Island, all of them, but I will carry them and kill them. I said, hey, why? I said, please, I have relatives, they don't know that I carry them. I said, why? He said, you just have money, you not go and constitute, but they constitute, I'm telling you. And he's a pastor with your church. I said, okay, you said like this, are you okay? I said, you will go to hell. He said, no, his heaven is secure. He said, your heaven cannot be secure. When you are wishing that people living on an island will just die. I said, why? He said, because they went and found carcass there. They went to go and find. I said, child, this is poverty speaking. You just wish them evil for no just reason. Did they kill your child? Did they steal your wife? What did they do to you? Say, because they just go and form cabal there, Banana Island, I said, by the way, the picture you are helping me to edit was taken Banana Island. He said, really? For talk now? I said, but that's not carry anybody away from me.
Because that's where you always stay.
That's where I always stay at in Lagos and Nigeria. I said, that's my household. So please, don't touch anybody there. You know, it's interesting. So like the book said, you know, that, or like JSA said in the book, that, you know, you envy them, you resent them, you judge them, you castigate them, because they see them as people who have a lot of money and do nothing with it than pursuing place. Imagine the house rent that can buy 70 houses. You don't even used to rent one house. What are you looking for? That's one of the, you know, these things that you raise. So for that, that's why that place really jumped out to me. And the second was, recently I was listening to Myron Golden, and he talked about how he was one day frustrated from a commercial flight. It delayed him, he missed some opportunity. He said, no, going forward, we are doing a PJ. PJ or nothing. I was sharing with them, say on Sunday, when our flight was delayed for almost 2 hours, I said, our PJ needs to arrive on time. Can't be wasting time in a commercial like this. Our PJ needs to come on time. So Myra was sharing how that frustrated led him to buy a PJ. And because, again, the rich man monetizes pleasures, he said that was how what he's not had before. He created a product and he called it a VIP day with himself. He was going for another $120,000 or $150,000 one day. He said they would touch on maybe 3 or 4 cities. Now PJ now, that thing is already there. Around California, this, and then they will have lunch here, have dinner here. They will spend maybe 3 hours together on strategy and everything. Pick my brain for the whole day. 24 hours with Myron, you sleep in the same place, so they'll pick you up at the airport, wherever. You come in, just have that 150,000 naira. Let me just say 120 to be safe, in case it's more less than that. And he said the first time he put that offer out, he said 7 people took that offer.
$1,000.
Yeah?
No,
dollars. Oh, of course. $1,000. Yes. 7 people took that offer. He said that was how the money he made that day. That was 7 days of his life. Did a 1 year payment for that jet. With 7 people, he did over $1 million. And he said, and that was over, it was 150K. It was not 120. And then he said that he took care of the bill. And he said, guess what? When those people had that, he said he got media. They did the video, everything. Paparazzi was. And the second time he made the offer, we should guess how much. He said he raised the price to $250. He said, guess how many people took the offer? We were like 10. He said no. 20. He said no. He said 59 people took the offer, because he said that was the last time he would offer it for that price. So they all rushed him. I know, we must have this experience too. And he said, and to trust my words, I kept it that way. When you want to know how much it is now, well, you come and tell us if you don't need me. $500,000 now. That is the price for that service now. He said from that frustration of being held back in the commercial to buying the PJ, that PJ forced him to come up with a business, a product that is now fun. So you see him all over, PJ. You know that 7 days work has taken care, that I did like 2 years ago or so, has taken care of the annual bill. So it's just traveling for free actually. There's no bill on his neck again. So that's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Interesting. Thank you for that, and that's good. So I will do my review on same billionaire habits,
Okay.
and I'm looking at page 129. It said diversified investment. Right. So page 130 says understand investment risk. So there's a quote under it says, while factors that determine risk can be controversial or debatable, it is advisable that you think of risk in terms of the odds that an investment venture may fail to achieve the returns that it has promised. Right? The other part says poor people only invest in high-risk ventures. This is because most poor people tend to think of investment as an opportunity to get rich quick. This is on page 131.
Why are you calling my name? Why are you shouting my name?
So And this is very, very true. One of the major reasons why people don't get to that billionaire status is that they don't have a long-term perspective to this subject called wealth. You know, and I can guess, right, whether in the next 5 years, right, your financial turnaround is going to be mega, or it's going to be meager, or it's going to be zero, just by this conversation. How do I mean? Billionaires can tell you. In fact, the most valuable company in the world in the last few days is called Nvidia. Right?
What they do?
They do chips for games.
Oh.
They do, you know, chips for game. And the co-founders talked about how, of course, his life was miserable many years ago. And that distracted me. This class. Drop the phone. Let's finish this class. You continue your phone. Just drop your phone. Okay. So he was talking about how many years ago when he started the company, they didn't have much. They were all struggling and all that. But something happened to him. I can't remember the story. Guess what? Just similar to my story, he created a 50-year goal plan. He literally said, I'm going to change the world in 50 years from now. And today, this week or last week, his company became the most valuable company in the world. Overtook Apple.
After many years? From the time he made that goal?
1995, I think it was.
Like 30 years now.
30 something years, yeah.
29.
Right. So even less than 50 years, at least is already the most valuable company in the world. But what am I trying to bring out of that? Really, really great people at the level of billionaires plan this wealth conversation long term. They're thinking, okay, you know what, this is where I'm going to be in the next 10 years, next 20 years. Now poor people are like, if you can give me $100,000,
No.
I can assure you, in 6 months from now, we don't blow.
You don't blow. Fuse don't blow.
6 months from now, we don't blow. We've done it. Right? Meanwhile, it's methodical. Then we'll take this process. Then we'll go this step. Then we'll go this step. Then we'll go this. I like. It is executed step by step. Right? And they didn't enjoy watching it come to pass. It's like, and at that point, and I tell people, I said, when they say God created you in his image, it's not like God is short or tall or slim. It's that God said and God saw. And it's the most powerful position to be. And Stephen said and Stephen saw. Right? Yesterday, as I was checking the houses, I remember last year, I was in a car with one of my friend Tipo. I was saying to him, I'm going to buy a multi-million-dollar house in the US. And then I'm going to buy a Rolls Royce. Then I'm going to buy a G-Wagon. And I'm going to buy a private jet. And I'm going to have a driver, I'm going to have a security,
That was necessary.
The final one is almost it's part of what you're buying.
Out of the jets.
But you can imagine the joy of and God said and God saw and Stephen said and Stephen saw. And you know, I was checking those houses yesterday, not hoping to get the money. In fact, the money has been sitting in the account for almost 6 months, waiting for when the right property will be there. Right? So it's that kind of life that you want to give yourself. But you know why we're all not trying it? we can't afford to think 10 years time. It's too far. But guess what? The 10 years will come like that.
Either you want or not.
Right?
It
will come like that.
Speedily.
Right? So why not just settle down now and say, okay, let's then plan that next 10 years. Right? And watch yourself being able to say, and Tammy said, and Tammy saw. You know, and John said, and John saw. Right? Because that's really what then means that God created you in His image. Is that capacity to imagine things. Right? And those things you imagine coming to pass. Yes, you can. It's important. You can record this, please. You can record it.
It's been recorded, you say.
But
It's not
recorded.
recorded.
Though I was streaming it on IG, so you can watch it. But it's a powerful thing, honestly. If you and I can get to that level, right? I know it's that. You want me to repeat it? Which part should I rewind?
Please, and God said, I do say, see, I please say it again.
That you being God's image.
I have my reasons.
It's not about you being tall or being short.
Yes, so okay, I'll pick it up from
that
there.
attribute.
So yes, I mean, when the Bible says that God created man in His image, you know, the Bible wasn't referring to that God was either slim or fat or dark or fair or whatever. That wasn't what the Bible is saying. What the Bible is saying is that God gave man the capacity to see, right? To think of it and then see it. To imagine something and then it comes to pass.
The way He,
you know, the way He did it. And the proof of that was the Tower of Babel. Right? Mm-hmm. When men decided to say, we'll build a tower and I will get to heaven, I'll go and start talking to God. Mm-hmm. And if you remember what the Bible says there, and God said, and nothing can stop. So He knew what the people He created. He knew the capacity. Right? So the capacity God has put in man is the ability to first imagine it. You know, and then no. See it in your mind.
Yeah, then say it.
And then say it, and then see it physically. That's why in the Bible, God made man twice. If you notice, in the beginning, God created. And then in the beginning, God formed man. It was the forming that now became this one you're seeing. So the create man was mental. And God said, let us make man in our image. That part, it was God imagining it. Alright, from imagining it, He called the Trinity, saying it. And let us, you know, create the earth. Let us make man. Let's do this. And then chapter 2 or chapter 3, and I said, God formed man in His image and in His likeness. So the meaning that God made you in His image is that, and God said, and God saw. So your ability to be able to imagine where you will be 10 years from now and say it, and 10 years will come and you will see it. That is really what makes you to be in the image of God. That's what means you were created in the image of God.
Consistency.
Islam.
Right?
That's my next message. I have a conference in Nigeria soon, so
this is your
topic is going to be and God said and God saw.
You must share the honorarium with me. That's my only request. So that's my only request, right? Just share the honorarium. So the next book I'm reviewing is called Becoming a Billionaire Land Banker, and is in chapter 5. How to identify the right location for land banking in Nigeria. It says first, you must identify the property close to a densely populated city. So when it comes to real estate, one of the critical driver of real estate is called population growth, right? And I'm going to be teaching this on, by the way, I all of you will be there on Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday and Sunday train is going to be really great. One of the commercial properties we are trying to buy, one of the things I love about it is that it's very close to downtown, right? And in fact, when you get there, you're going to be seeing how a lot of the houses are already being remodeled. Many of the houses were really, really old. So some of them you see a house worth over $2 million, and then now beside it you are seeing something. So you know that people are buying, and then we call it gentrification, I think in the UK, right? So because many of the downtown people who cannot even stay where all these skyscrapers are, just the next few streets from there, they want to stay there.
Yeah.
Right. So in picking location, you are looking at population growth. Sometimes you are looking at what is bringing population or will bring population. So sometimes you are not buying because the population is there yet, but you are buying because something is bringing, or something is going to drive the population growth. So people ask me why Texas. I knew Elon Musk has moved to Texas and is moving more. And I knew more companies will move to Texas.
A lot of tech companies are moving out of California.
Yes, because of all the crime going on. So they're all leaving. And so I knew for sure I needed to do my business, make my headquarters in Texas. It's either going to be Texas or Florida, right? But with the World Cup, with Elon Musk, with a couple of things, you know what? Let's just do Texas, right? But why am I doing Texas? Because there is hope for population growth. So it's not even whether the population has been there, it's also that it is growing. More people are coming, more people are moving in. Now let me go invest. So that's one of the key things you want to look at when you are doing land banking. Secondly, invest in a property close to a government or industrial project, like a free trade zone, right? Places with lower taxes. There's a government project coming to that neighborhood, and so on and so forth. So in this book, I shared more. I mean, if you read this book, you really master. You can see a place and you know whether it is the place or it's not the place. Today, I can go to a place that I can tell you, I will invest in this, or this is a no-no for me, right? Based on certain things that I now understand from my exposure, my trainings around how to identify the right location for land banking. The good news also, the concept around land banking also helps in housing as well. Though slightly different, but they also are a bit similar as well. But land banking, I want to encourage all of you, it's something you must do. It's something you should consider doing back in Africa, and something you should do also in this part of the world. Particularly Texas, people are making crazy kind of money from doing land business in Texas. People have bought land for almost next to nothing. The one we saw yesterday that her dad bought, she's selling for 4.1 million, 20 acres. And I don't know whether she told us the price.
That she bought
the
it?
dad bought it.
No, she didn't. But
she
didn't mention, but she said, no, she said that they lived there in 1972 around.
Yeah.
They left, then the father now bought that land back from the people he sold it to. For I don't think when she was made, I don't think that land will be less than $1 million, maybe 500K when they bought it. I can't.
It's not to that. I think it was around 200,000.
That one near you.
It's going to be more than 150,000.
Yeah,
50,000.
I think it was even probably less than 100,000.
The reason I said that is that area,
It's
some
quite
years ago,
like
just 3 years ago, the land there was so cheap, very cheap.
But now it's coming.
Yeah. So, but the lesson is, even here in Texas, you are seeing people who bought land for next to nothing less than $50,000, $20,000. 30 years later, they're talking about $4 million. They're talking about $5 million, right? Even here in Texas. So the question is, what's going to happen? You know, it's for me one of the reasons why intentionally I'm particular about having more land space in the houses I want to buy. Left to me, I wanted my house to be a 10-acre, 20-acre house. I met a man here in DC Houston, right? Even though it's like you're driving 1 hour out of Houston to go to his house. And then we got to this man's house. It's like, the man created Nigeria in Houston, right? This man kills bush meat and eats it. If I served us, even though I didn't eat it for in case the law.
No, for him.
He's not
I'm like, I'm not gonna eat it, right? But this man bought the house of, I think it's almost 30 years ago, 30 acres, and then built his house 30 years ago. In fact, when you enter the house, like, it's built like the normal Nigerian kind of house. Like, so you just almost feel like you're in Nigeria. You know how those village houses, they're exactly the same. And then, in fact, you'll be seeing, you know how they dry animals. Like, you know, you see antelope, and then
they have a lot around it.
They skinned it, then the skin of python, you know, real python that he killed, and some of them will say he killed them on the land, right? But guess the story now. At some point, he sold 10 acres to a bank, because now goes him a bank, goes him, and then was just at some point sell a little lot out of it, little lots. I think now he's left with 15. He sold, you know, 15 to 2 other neighbors. I said, this is the kind of life, right? This is the kind of life. So because ultimately you buy this land, and he was telling us how much money is made from, it's practically being sustained, because he's older now, it's the 70s, just being sustained by just the right investment he's made. So once you can just buy the right property, ultimately population growth will soon come, and most people, pressure will come in, the richer ones will leave, and the whole place is now being divided, and then they are trying to build more skyscrapers going on. Okay, the last book I'm reviewing tonight is called Maximizing Your Real Estate Investment, Chapter 7. It says creating growth and cash flow in real estate investment. So one of the quotes there says, understand that lasting wealth is generated by owning income producing assets, right? And this is very, very important. Today now, when I look at any piece of real estate, the first thing that comes to my mind is, how can I convert this to an income producing asset? Right? So for me, buying a house, for example, what was in my mind is, okay, how do I buy a house where I can do retreats, you know, special with, you know, mentees? We can do like a 3-day with me in my house, and you're getting an opportunity to really soak in, you know, and it's a very different kind of experience that you are having with me. But technically, that is also now becoming an income, you know, stream. So rather than just being the, oh, I'm living in a multi-million-dollar house, it's not just a multi-million-dollar house, it's also generating cash. I'm already thinking, how do I get the house in a position where if a governor of a state comes to US, he's saying, the image I've seen of Akintayo's house, I would love to go to that house and play tennis with him. I love to go to that house and play golf, you know, as a golf range in his compound. I want to have that experience. The richest set of people, celebrities, they just want to come and visit you. And I learned that also from Solomon.
Yeah.
Right? Solomon's palace became a cash producing real estate.
Tourist
Right?
center.
It became a tourist center. The Bible says even when Queen Sheba came, you know, I mean, and it's funny because you read in the same Bible, it said, and gold was like sand in Israel. Yeah, guess what? Queen Sheba came and she brought gold and brought silver and brought cattle.
Sand.
The same thing that was so plenty. And it taught me one of my powerful lessons about wealth. The more money you have, the more people want to give you.
Correct.
Attraction.
Yeah.
Love of attraction.
The more money you have, the more. In fact, the rule says the more money you have, the more the quality of money people want to give you, because they don't want to be rude to you by giving you something small. So you go to a man's house, he's living in a multi-million-dollar house. Now you want to bring toiletry as a gift. I mean, you will take
Good toiletry.
Except you have not been properly mentored, which is by the way is one of the rules I want to encourage all of you, because these are very small things some of us miss and we must be sensitive to. You must, if you are going to visit people, always go with a gift. Right? Let it be a culture of going with a gift. In fact, sometimes if I miss it, maybe for whatever reason I didn't plan it, right, then I want to make sure that some cash gift is given to people around that area, to compensate for, what I didn't bring. But what we saw in that story with Queen Sheba, she knew she was going to meet Solomon. She was going to glean from his wisdom and his counsel. She couldn't go empty-handed. Right? And she came with the gold that is too many, still brought more. Of course they will reject it. So it tells you and I powerfully that the richer you get, the more people bring more wealth to you. And it's a position, sir. It's an intentional position that you have to do. Yeah. It's an intentional positioning that you have to do. And once it's done, you just be shocked that people are glad to come around you. People are glad to come to your neighborhood. People want to come to your house. People want to have experiences with you. And for me, I realized that certain bigger deals, they just don't want to come to your office. Right? The people they will send to your office, they are secretary to talk to your secretary. The accountant to talk to your accountant. The lawyer to talk to your lawyer. Right? But where the agreement as to, okay, we have decided to invest $50 million into your business, $100 million into your business, is either a house party, right?
Yeah.
A concert visit,
A charity
ball in your house, and at that high level, it's a special thing. It took me long to learn it. In fact, my last birthday, I had to do it in my house when I started getting a glimpse of this, right? And of course, it was the people there were not up to 40. Wife of former vice president, former IG of police, top oil magnate. It was selective. And I saw that everybody came, were excited. It didn't matter how rich they were. They ate. I said, now I get it. Like there's something about come to my house. We talk in the house. Right? And one has to master how to create homes where even your house is now a cash producing real estate asset. Not directly, obviously, indirectly now.
Where deals are sealed.
Capital you build.
Exactly, where deals are sealed. People must be able to come to your house and not think twice whether they should invest that amount of money. Right? In fact, by coming to your house, it should be a confirmation that this is. I remember in Dubai doing this. Got a driver and a Rolls-Royce. So you're coming to visit me in Dubai. And that's the intention, of course, here in Houston as well. My driver will come and pick you up from the airport, the Rolls Royce. He's not even a black guy. Right? Right? A black driver. Right? Pick you up from the airport. Then we go to the tallest restaurant in the world. In fact, when you are coming to, you see Guinness Book of Record, tallest restaurant in the world. Right? When you get to, that's where you come to Burj Khalifa, which is also the tallest building in the world. Then we have dinner there. In fact, it was in one of those meetings somebody I hosted said he wanted to invest 100 billion naira. I had to tell him, I said, can we start with 100 million? I've never done that in my life.
Yeah. 100 million.
Billion.
100 billion,
Okay.
tell me. B. Dollars, not naira. It's not a black guy.
We'll take that money.
I've never, nobody has ever approached you and then I'm saying, no, let's do this one. I had to say, no, please. Can we start with an investment lower?
10 times lower than that.
Right? Let's have $100 million. 100 billion? And the guy was showing me evidence, sending me. I don't care about the evidence. But I think that is a lot of money. Right? But again, the ambience call for being able to even talk at that level.
Yeah.
It probably would have even come lower. But that ambience made
I think I should invest this.
let's have this kind of conversation. So I hope we've learned a few things about billionaire habits.
Few. They are doing flyer for when God saw it. And God said it also. They are already creating, I'm serious, they sent to the graphic designer. Okay. There's no few.
So I encourage you, my advice is always have all the billionaire habits series book, right, in your house and give it as a gift, right? It's always powerful. Even in moments where you are challenged in business and you're wondering like, what will a billionaire do in this situation? Right? These are books you can consult and just scan through and it begins to give you an idea of what your moves and decisions should be. Okay? Madam Temi is in charge of the book sales, so you can buy it from her.
Okay.
But I think
so the 6 will be 300.
Even the
no,
even the small ones.
You are not about the size.
well, I will give discount. Let's do $30.
Really?
Yes.
So 6 will not be 180.
Is it 180? If he's doing 6, he can do 150.
That's even more discount.
Yes.
Wow, that's half.
Thank you, Jerry.
50% discount.
It's my partner.
It's your party now.
Everything.
It's your party.
It's partnership discount.
Yeah,
Okay, then you know that one. I just
So the 6 for 150, right?
It's your party now.
6 for 1.
We can sell
And what's the number?
346 575.
Just
Does he get a party now discount too? Or you know it's paying full price?
Oh,
You only
what's
pay
the
100. Take it up by
You will get to.
Same to
Eh?
say 50% discount for him, or you should do 180.
No, 50.
But I do 180.
Thank you.
Do 180.
the number.
346
346
575
575
4852.
4852.
Yes.
It says there, right?
Yes. 346.
Any question? If anybody has a question, those of you watching on IG as well, if you have questions.
346
Do we have any question or contribution? I think we have 10 minutes to go. Any question or contribution? Either those of us here or those on Instagram.
They are available online. E-copies.
When you get this, you can get the e-copy for free.
Oh, I've read
Or
about
even the audio.
I have read about
But you
400.
must buy this to get the audio for free.
400.
How do you now get?
You send me a message,
Because of those,
or send me a message, I'll
so-
just click the screenshots you made, share it with me.
Because
I'll
you
share it
put
with the
in my church. So
with the
my
products,
first position was a
the
copy
products
in charge of
guys
copybooks.
in the head office.
So
So
I
they will now
for
email
you
you
to be able to
links
sell,
to
you have to read everything.
So this gets you access to the audio for
Because
free.
you can books. I have to digest everything.
What? How many do you have
I
there?
don't even know.
Which one is
Whether-
it? I think I
That
was
was
No.
one is
400
missing.
bucks.
The one for entrepreneurs.
No wonder you are this smart. No wonder you are this smart.
I don't joke with books. I don't.
Tunde says, when are you coming to Canada?
Okay.
Well, when Canada gives me visa, I will come. By the way, I've applied online for
So you
Canada
can send my
visa.
number, send me a WhatsApp message.
I've applied online for Canada visa and they've not
Yes. You can add more
invited
to
me
it.
to come and stamp the visa. So I'm waiting for them.
So then you just WhatsApp me
Sometimes
your proof of payment.
these Canada people can take a
So
while.
you say you want the e-copy in our video.
Olufemi
Yes,
Shu
so
says,
that's
thank
me.
you,
I will- so- and your
Doctor,
email address.
for this
I'll copy
meet
your
and greet
email address.
session.
So they will-
You
they will
broadcasted
just reply
live. They have been
with
very
the
helpful. More
e-copies, the
grace.
audio, the audio, anything you
Thank you, thank you, Olufemi. Thank
want. So
you.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you for thanking me. David Oluwadamilani says, well done, Doctor. Stephen Akintayo.
Audio, yeah, Mama.
Thank you. Thank you.
Audio, I think, you know.
485.
Thank
You
you.
need to add one.
So woman who read
Anyone else?
woman I like, woman who read pen.
That means me more
Bible,
audio. No,
Bible.
even when I buy audios or books,
Bible yẹn máa
bí mo ṣe ń lo audio mama ká, mo ṣe ń gbọ́ audio mama ká.
You
at
like,
the same time.
yeah, some people like
I like to
touch.
I like to touch myself.
Yeah, some people like the
Inside.
physical.
Because reading is
Touch.
touch. I might be reading it
I'm
like
a
and something
visual.
come up.
I
I want to write it in front of
Yeah.
us.
I'm also visual.
You know.
I like to see what I'm.
Mohiwa says, I just love Dr. Stephen Akintayo, too intelligent. God bless you, sir. Thank you too. God bless you too. I appreciate it. Any question or contribution with that? No?
Okay.
Okay, thank you all for coming.
Everything can be monetized.
Yes, so and that's one.
Your time is money.
Recently,
Yeah.
my wife, before I married, they were using this on their account 2004. So when I met her, I do go to the mechanic almost every week.
Yeah.
So I then asked her, I said, okay, for the past 3 years, how much have you spent? They spent over 6,000 on that car. That car is not worth 2,005. And I like, what? You keep paying and paying and paying on this car. Why not buy a new car? No, it's poor people, rich people, those people that have money. But you know, if you bought a new car,
Yeah.
you will never spend this
Yeah.
and you will get the value.
Yeah.
And you will never spend this much. That was what influenced me. The first car I bought.
For-
That was
I will tell you a
I will
story.
never buy a used car. And for good 4 years, I did not think anything of it.
No, any new car that you buy in the US with the road and everything, the maximum thing that you change is oil.
In fact, the oil, it was even free for me.
No, oil, you know, oil.
I
free oil.
No, free oil.
Free
You
oil
get
service for good.
for 3 years or
100,000
miles. You
So,
understand?
and
At the end of the day,
I'm spending more.
poverty, let me put it, poverty is expensive. Poverty is expensive. Thinking is very expensive. You
Yes.
understand? Because brand new cars, and you still have a good value of the
That
car.
is after 4 years of
Dot Tunde says, do you think it's smart to invest in Nigeria now? I'm considering the option, but I'm scared. Well, my first answer would be,
What do you want to invest in?
no, my first answer would even be never do anything being scared, right? Fear is the opposite of faith. So when you are scared, I mean, when people chat me up and like, I want to buy property from you, but I'm scared of being scammed. I said, don't bother. Because somehow you always manifest your fear. Right?
In different ways.
Exactly. It's like, even if it's not there, you find a way to create it
Yes.
to come to life. So when you are scared, I always say, don't make decision. And guess what kills fear? Knowledge. Right. So we invest in this season to understand what is real estate. How does real estate work in Canada or in US? Since you're in Canada, you can do your US is better than Canada, pretty much, because you know the funding is a lot easier here compared to Canada. Here funding is a bit strong, a bit more tighter in Canada. Yes, more strict. But invest in the knowledge of how does real estate work in the US and Canada, and then how does real estate work in Nigeria. Like I said, I have a training this Saturday and Sunday. You are invited. It's $1,500, but I can give you discount. You can send me a DM on this Instagram, and you get discount, particularly if you're joining virtually. And you can come down here from Canada, it's up to you. But it's going to open you up to how it works. And once you have the knowledge, you'll be able to make an informed decision by yourself. And it's no longer, the fear will have disappeared, because you now have the information of how it works, what happens, how this, and then you can, yes, what to do, what not to do, how to mitigate all the risk involved. So we'll be looking at real estate in US and real estate in Dubai on Saturday and Sunday. It's a 2-day, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time daily. So I look forward to seeing you at the event. He has already paid, for him and his wife. So I hope to see John. You guys you're the ones who want real estate mentors. So, by the way, the Saturday training is done because of you guys. Yeah, so the goal is to be able to break down what exactly we are looking for in our expansion drive, the 7 different type of real estate investment opportunities, what to look out for. So it will help us as we expand to know exactly what we're looking out for. And I also noticed that it will help our confidence in convincing investors. Right, because when you are struggling to convince an investor, the problem is that you also don't yet understand what it is. So I give you an example. When people want to invest with me in real estate, I'm able to confidently talk to them and even let them know, if you don't believe there's no problem, you can go. Why? Because I know I'm doing you a favor, right? And I got to that place because of 2 things: knowledge and practicality. Anyway, because now I've helped so many people who have made money, so I can tell you, you're about to do the same. A lady came for the meet and greet on Saturday in Dallas. I didn't even know she was our client. She had attended on my training in Abuja like 10 years ago. She had bought our buckets, and when used to sell buckets and things.
My era.
Yes, your era. Yes, now. Temi Lola that took us to Porter's house. And so she's bought almost all her estate: Lagos, Ibadan, Abeokuta, Abuja. Every estate we are launching, she's buying. And she's done GVest, she's put her money to her investment program. And every year they've been paying her returns. And in fact, you could see, she even did a testimony video, you could see a smile on her face, that kind of, I joined your investment when you used to give huge returns. I made good money from GTEX, and she was really happy. But beyond that, you could see her say, I'm happy with the growth. I knew this girl when she just joined your company. I could see now, she's very much exposed, very much confident, and things like that. So I look at potential customer from the angle of, I'm trying to help you, right? It's either you take advantage of it or you don't, but it's your loss. And when people see that level of confidence, is what makes them do business with you, right? And it's when there's not enough knowledge, the way you will talk, there's a way exactly. Try. This is still business. We can lose money. I people are here. This person is not convenient. I'm dead. Exactly.
It's not fear.
Yeah.
Of not taking risk.
Absolutely. But the good news is that trainings like this, the more the confidence you get. So for me, I believe it will help our team because you guys are the team. So I hope I will see all of you on Saturday and Sunday. Let's make it. For you, you're already my investor, so I will just say do donation and you come. Right? I don't want to charge you because whatever knowledge you get is still for the collective good, right? Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I had one quick question before I go.
Yes.
Regarding the Saturday training. So that training, that's the once in a year event, right? It's not happening again anytime soon at all. You don't plan on that. The reason why I'm asking and I need to give excuses because, like I said earlier, we just moved to the area and my wife is pregnant. So our doctor is still in Kentucky. We'll be trying to get a doctor for her here. No way. So the only way for me to get her scenes has to be on the weekend. Unfortunately, all the weekends are available in the next, I think, around 60 days. This is the only weekend. We've already reached that. So I'm now in a position like, okay, what this or what that, and I have to be there. So I'm just like, really, like, God help me. This is so very important to me.
Must you be there?
Yeah, because I have to drive her around, fly, and then take her there.
Can't you go by air?
And that's one of the things which I love to ride on this journey with her. Yeah, it's by air. And then when she gets to
On ground.
on ground is my help
You should
is
have
on
done
ground.
with it.
Yes. Thank you guys. We love you. Bye bye. Well, honestly, I'm not sure of when the next one will be.